All right, Nicole. You say, all right, Amanda.
All right, Amanda.
So what are we reading today?
We are reading The Never King, book 1 of The Vicious Lost Boys by Nikki St. Crowe.
Mhm. I'm going to read off the triggers. These came right off of the author's website. The triggers for this book are mental illness, smoking, rough graphic sex, sex in public, group sex, dubcon, graphic violence, graphic language, captive/captivity, degradation, submission, bondage, ropes, spanking, blood play, choking, CNC, and talk of sexual assault. So substantial trigger warnings, but
Pretty great read.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty easy read.
nothing but positive things to say about the book. And I love the dedication. I think you're going to love it too. Did you read it?
Yeah.
Okay. The book was dedicated to all the girls who had to grow up hard and fast. And it is like so appropriate because both Nicole and I really enjoyed it.
We can relate and
yeah,
love that.
And also I was thinking about this last night when I was making my notes. I love that this is the first podcast that we're doing because this is the first smutty book that we read together.
It is. I mean, we did Avatar.
Well,
like wasn't until the last.
Do we? Yeah. Book. Yeah. And we didn't even make the last book, didn't even make our book club. We never even got that far.
No.
I don't even think we got to the 4th book.
No. Well, 4th book's trash.
That's that's the 5th book. The 5th book is trash. No, you're right. It's the 4th book. Oh,
book is my favorite.
I know.
But no, this book, you would like gone down that dark rabbit hole, finding like really dark stuff. And I was like, I found this super easily. And you were like, I've never heard of it.
I was finding books that were I couldn't finish reading them.
Yeah.
They were so dark. And then you recommended this to me. And that was, I think, where we drew our line on what do you mean by dark?
Mm-hmm.
I see what you mean. And I don't even think that this book is that dark.
No, not at all.
Really.
We've gone darker.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
For sure. All right. So we're just going to kind of start reading.
Yeah,
just kind of go through my recap. The book opens up to Winnie Darling getting railed by a football player in his car. And we've talked about this before. I absolutely approve of a book opening on a sex scene. I think that it sets me up for success.
That's the tone.
It really does. And sometimes like we'll be reading these books and I'll be like, oh, is this a smutty book? Like somebody will be like, oh, this is a really smutty book. And then I'll read it and 3/4 of the way in and I'm like, okay, so was that fade to black supposed to be the smut? But they're going hard. Yeah. In this first scene. Yeah. She is bored out of her fucking mind. And I just loved every minute of it. Yeah. So yes, we meet Winnie Darling. So what would be your physical description of Winnie Darling?
So very, very thin and then super long black hair with green eyes.
Okay.
And then her back is fully scarred.
Yeah. And I think too, the thinness in this book is acceptable to me because I do get annoyed when the lead is always like a very thin, petite person. She has like a reason to be real thin. Yeah. And it's not the primary thing.
And she's not trying to be thin.
She's not. No. And I don't think she even really fucking cares about the shape of her body, which I also appreciate a lot. Yeah. So Winnie Darling is giving it up for, I don't know, some idiot football player, which I feel for her.
Just another notch.
And honestly. And we find out that it's her birthday and it makes this whole scene barely legal at this point because she just turned 18, which is also a pet peeve of mine is when they're just 18, but we'll let it pass. She doesn't seem like an 18-year-old to me.
No, not at all.
She doesn't read like an 18-year-old. This is where we find out that she sort of alludes to being kidnapped by a myth, which is where we kind of get the Peter Pan reference sort of initially. What are your thoughts so far at this point in the book?
I mean,
are you sold? Are you hooked at this point?
I was definitely hooked. I love a sex positive main character because I feel like a lot of times with these books, like they're discovering their sexuality or they're being taught and she knows what she wants, goes for it. She does talk about too how she's basically been planning on her 18th birthday, like being her last. So she's just living it up.
I actually never made that connection, but yes, you're right. Yeah. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed this part. I mean, just getting into the book, I was pretty much hooked right away. Yeah. It didn't take me long to be like, I don't want to do anything else. I want to finish this book. We kind of get a little bit of history about Darling and just Darlings disappearing on their 18th birthday. So this goes back generations of Darlings, her mom and her grandmother and her great-grandmother and all the women before her. And they disappear and then they basically show up weeks or months later and they're sort of mentally or emotionally damaged and just kind of have lost a little bit of touch with reality. And we learned really quickly that her mom has some severe mental illness, and that Winnie, I get the sense that Winnie feels like she needs to take care of her mom.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
and which is a little bit heartbreaking because her mom is doing her best to take care of her.
Well, especially coming from that mental capacity.
So Darling Senior, we learn, has gone Mary.
Mary.
We don't know her name yet, though,
Okay.
at this point in the book.
Oh, sure, just mom.
Just
Okay.
mom. I call her Darling Senior
Sure.
for the beginning notes, maybe a couple times in the end too,
Yeah.
just because,
Forget.
well, Darling Senior is
Yeah.
preferential to Mary,
True.
clearly.
Sure.
You don't like that as much? Okay, that's fine. Fine, I'll call her by her given name. But we find out that she's gone to great lengths to protect Winnie from capture, including enlisting the help of witches and shamans and using blood magic, using blood that is taken from Winnie's body.
Yeah.
And they've also moved around so frequently that they lived in 19 different homes with the only possession a shared trunk for their clothes.
Her great grandma's.
That was her great grandmother's. Yeah. Like, we really kind of establish at this point in the book. I mean, we're probably 20 pages in at
Yeah.
this point,
Very
and
early.
overall, the book has a lot of tension.
Yeah.
You just feel it's not like anxiety, it's just tense. So Winnie doesn't take any of this seriously. Her mom has been going on and on for years about some
Yes.
Peter Pan,
some mythical
yes,
creature
mythical creature
kidnapping her.
coming to kidnap her, and I feel the tension. Obviously, we know that he is going to come and kidnap her because it's a real
Yeah,
like, I mean,
exactly.
that's,
It's
like,
in
the whole
everything.
point, but, like, I still am, like, anxious at this point to, like,
Yeah.
for him to get there. Like,
Yeah, I'm ready
"Can't.
for it.
Show up, please.
Yeah.
Throw down. Let's get going here."
Ready.
So, Winnie Darling is at home after railing this
On her
soap
birthday.
opera on her birthday, living her best life. Her mom is locking down the house, wants Winnie to stay in her room.
I'm surprised you didn't write down anything about Starla. Did you write the Starla descript like,
I
what she said
did.
about that? Because wasn't that right away that she talks about Starla? It
No,
was later.
it was later, and I did talk about it. I have some big opinions on it.
Yeah.
Do you also?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you love Starla?
Yeah,
You knew her for 5 seconds.
I know.
Oh my
But the
god.
fact that when she's doing some of this shit, she's
Yeah.
like, "This is for you, Starla."
That actually, I can see the appeal there.
I thought she thought about Starla when she was in the back getting railed. Maybe she didn't, because she does call back to Starla later too.
I don't think she did, but maybe she did.
I don't know.
I do skim. I know I was supposed to read every
You
word.
were. I read every word.
We talked about reading every single word, and
I did.
I definitely did not.
I did. You're right. She doesn't talk about
I don't think she
Starla in the
does.
beginning. No. Well, we'll come back to
We
Starla.
will come back to Starla. This part to me is the part that is lacking cohesiveness, where basically she's trying to get the information from her mom, and her mom is pointing at her temple like, I can't get the information out because of magic or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
But she knows so much.
I know. I agree with
Like,
that. Because she literally says that Pan is losing
Yeah.
control of Neverland.
That
Like,
he's
she tells
losing
her that
Yeah,
before.
that he's losing his magic. She remembers the wolves, the fairies,
The cloudberries.
remembers the cloudberries. She remembers so much about it. It just is odd to me that,
But I mean, we don't know how magic works. That could be
well, what more is there?
that's a sign that it's not
I
schizophrenia. It's magic.
I just think, like, sometimes, like, why doesn't everybody just, like, shut the fuck up and believe the crazy woman in the room? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
well, because then this is where Winnie does what every single every single female character in every single piece of literature in the entire history of the world does, and she leaves her room even though she's not supposed to. You had one night.
You're protecting that room.
For one night.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, your 18th
Yeah.
and one day birthday,
Yeah.
you can leave your room. But today,
All I can hear is how you say rum.
rum,
Yes.
rum,
Yeah, it's like rum.
rum.
Yeah. I'm reading Pet Sematary, and he says road like rud. And that's what
What?
yeah, I don't know. But that's what that's reminding me of.
Rum.
Yes.
This is gonna make it into the podcast.
Oh my god. It's that Midwestern accent.
I guess so. I hope it makes our listeners feel more at home.
Okay, I'm sorry. Back to rum. The rum.
The rum. freaking Winnie leaves the room, and she comes back, and he realizes that somebody is in the house. And even though it perfectly aligned with what her mom predicted,
Yeah. She's like,
Winnie
"No way.
yeah, Winnie is like, "It must be
An
some
intruder."
right,
Yep.
it's yeah. Some ne'er-do-well broke into my home. It couldn't
Yeah.
possibly be Peter Pan, the man that my mom has been predicting for my entire life, is here to kidnap me.
Yeah.
I really do like this book, even
I
though I'm being
know.
very critical of
I
it.
know. I really do too. You liked it way more than I did because I undersold it for sure.
You 100% you undersold it.
Yeah.
You were like, "Oh, you should read this." It's like a super easy read. You should just like read this
Yeah.
one. And I
Like,
was
great
like,
smut, but not a
"No,
not a big storyline.
I enjoyed the
Yeah.
storyline
I
a
know.
lot
I
in this
know.
book." I text you
Mhm.
on Mother's Day when I was
Yes, yeah,
celebrating
you were
with my
yeah,
mom, and I was like,
your children.
"Hey, I am here physically, mentally, I am on a beach with Peter Pan
Yeah.
and the Lost Boys."
Yes.
I really enjoyed this book a lot.
Yeah.
Now we have Peter Pan. This man is scrumptious. I don't know how else to describe him. I
Yeah.
think the way that he is described in the book is like, "Yes, sir."
Well, so when you said the thing about Eric Northman, like, that I feel like is the vibe. Like,
100%. Yes.
maybe a little shorter because Skarsgård is just a giant.
I think that Peter Pan is a giant.
You think so?
I do. I get the sense that he
The
like,
cat
she says that he fills up the entire door frame.
okay, yeah.
So I
See,
feel like
very Eric
he's
Northman is, like, the vibe
yeah.
I get.
And for context, Nicole is referencing that on Nikki St. Crowe's website, she references that some of her inspiration for her
Yeah.
characters comes from kind of the air quotes bad guys from like popular culture, like Eric Northman, Damon Salvatore, and Lestat. So, and I agree with you now that you say that.
Yeah.
Very Eric Northman
Yeah,
vibes.
because he's blonde, which I never like to picture, but I'll picture Eric Northman.
Is he blonde?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it says he's blonde.
Shoot. Well, you were in charge of descriptions,
Yeah, I think it says
so
he's blonde.
really,
I'm pretty sure.
I don't imagine him blonde.
I didn't
I
either.
imagine him like sandy,
But he's so different from other Lost Boys. They're all, like, dark.
which I also love.
Yep.
Tall, dark, and handsome. He's here to kidnap Winnie, and he's on a first name basis with her mom.
Yeah, he says Mary.
Yes, he calls her Meredith.
Yeah. Does
And
he?
yeah, he does. He calls her Meredith,
Oh, he
and
does.
then
Meredith, it's been too long.
yeah, and I don't know. The first time that I read that, I was actually like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because it's weird. This guy is what, a million years
Literally,
old.
we don't even
He's so old he doesn't remember being born.
Mhm.
And I already know obviously that they're gonna be
Yeah,
a love interest, but, like, he knows my mom.
I know.
I don't know, it just kind of
Yeah.
threw me a little bit. But I think the important key points here is that Winnie is absolutely loving this.
Oh, yeah.
She's living for it.
Yes.
She's all tuned up to Peter Pan kidnapping her and whisking her away, which, like, same babe.
Right. In high school, I would have been too.
Oh,
Come and kidnap me. I'm
yes.
in.
Peter Pan, please take me to Neverland where I
Yeah.
can run around half naked on a beach all
Yeah.
day. Sign me up for that. Mom is fighting tooth and nail, and he basically fucking snaps his fingers and
Yeah.
actually, you know what? This is the part where he asks Winnie if she wants to do it the easy way or the hard way.
Yes.
And in my mind, I was like, "Winnie, there's really only one way, and that
Yeah.
is the hard way, obviously.
100%.
Please take me kicking and screaming."
Which she does.
No, she doesn't. She says easy,
But
obviously.
she doesn't but she's
But
not
she
doing it
doesn't
the easy way.
she doesn't do it the easy way.
She says the easy way.
That's true. Although I do think that we get to this a little bit later, but I do feel all like, especially Vane, is so critical of her even breathing too hard.
Yeah.
She'll huff and he'll be like, "You're the most stubborn darling that we've ever
Yes.
had." And I'm like, "Sir, she was
Chill.
kidnapped. Can you just chill the fuck
She's
out?"
18 and freshly 18 and was just kidnapped.
100%.
I was worse.
Oh,
Worse.
absolutely. Yes. My eyeballs would have been rolling into the back of my head.
Yeah.
I really, really love, I'm going to say this in every single podcast for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I love a man's POV.
Same.
I fucking love a
It
man's
makes
POV.
it's so different, like, knowing what they're thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
That's what, like, other books will do, like, that's what made it for me.
Well, and also too, one of the downsides of that is that I very often forget that the female doesn't know that he's thinking that thing.
I know.
And then that always kind of gets me caught up, and I have to be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. She doesn't know that
Yeah.
he's madly in love with her." And that happened a lot in this book.
Sure.
I think. Would you consider this an enemies to lover?
No, I mean, because of diverse harem, yes, she was enemies to lovers kind of with
Vane.
Vane, but otherwise with the others, it
It was like love.
the kidnapping.
Sure. Love at first sight.
Yes.
With the twins.
Very much.
Well, we get to switch to Pan's point of view here. And this is where we kind of find out that this Winnie is in really bad shape.
Yeah.
He alludes to really, really needing this darling to be the darling, but we still don't really understand what the goal is.
Right.
We do get introduced to home base, which is
the Neverland tree.
The Neverland tree. I know that the way that she describes it is that it's this big, beautiful house, but in my head, it's like a wooden clubhouse.
Yes.
I don't know.
Remember the movie Hook? That's what I'm picturing.
100%.
Yeah.
We get introduced to the characters here, the primary players of the book, and that is the twins, Cass and Bash.
Yep.
And then obviously Peter Pan, who we've met, and then Vane. So there's 4 of them. They are the high-ranking officers.
Yeah, the inner circle.
But they get to live in the upper level of the treehouse, whereas all of the other minion Lost Boys
they're at the bottom.
At the ground
and
level.
on like the beach.
And we find out that Vane likes to make darlings bleed, and Cass has a bleeding heart. So we know kind of a little bit about the guys.
Yeah, very different personalities.
We also learn, tell me if you felt this, we also learn that Peter Pan turns to ash in sunlight.
Yeah.
I for sure thought that this was going to become like a vampire thing. No?
No.
You didn't go there?
I did not.
I really was like, oh, okay, so the whole thing is he's a vampire.
I had just read ACOTAR. I was on fairies.
Sure.
Vampires were not even in my wheelhouse at that point.
Sure. Maybe I go to vampires too quickly.
Well, you need to read her other series. The Hot Vampire Next Door.
All right. Done. I had all kinds of theories.
Yeah.
At this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I took it too far. I really delved too deep into the predicting of the story. But we learn at this point that there really is only one rule in our clubhouse, and that is that there is no fucking the darlings. And
we don't fuck the darlings, we just break them.
We just break them. Oh my God.
Literally.
Peter Pan can break me.
Vane can break me. Or Bash.
We are going to fight when we start talking about Vane. I have really strong opinions about Vane, especially after my second read through.
Yeah.
I love Bash.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. I love a Sebastian. Cruel Intentions. Set up Sebastians for the rest of eternity.
Another blonde.
Oh, what's that guy's name? Ryan
Phillippe.
Ryan Phillippe. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same.
Honestly, Reese Witherspoon too. That whole thing was sexy. We meet the twins now.
Yes.
And the thing that I loved about this book, I figured it out.
Yeah.
I have a darling kink. Ever since ACOTAR, I love that term of endearment. I love it. And they call her.
They do.
Their darling.
Their darling. Yeah.
I see your face right now. This is why we need to record. What does Dave call you?
Babe.
Yeah.
My love.
We use babe a lot. But I call everybody babe.
You do.
I call every single person that I know babe.
Yeah.
I call everybody babe. So does it count if I call my husband babe?
No.
I didn't think so.
No. I mostly just call him Dave.
I love that. I'm sure that he calls you my love. I absolutely can hear your husband saying that too, and I love that. Oh, so yes, description of the twins.
Yeah.
From you.
Yes.
Please.
So they are mentioned to be bigger than Pan.
Oh,
Bash specifically.
You're right.
Is bigger. Bash has long hair that's tied up in a bun.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it vice versa?
It's vice versa.
It's vice versa. Cass has the long hair.
Yes.
Tied up in a bun.
Yes.
Bash is short, clean cut.
Yes. I don't imagine it super clean cut.
I do not. I do kind of.
Do you?
Like Army Buzz type.
No.
Not buzz, but like, yeah.
I just feel like if his brother has long hair, I feel like her referring to it as short in my mind just means like it's like much shorter.
Damon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine like a little like dark wisp over his forehead. Oh my God.
But
oh my God.
She doesn't, which is interesting. She doesn't do big descriptions of people.
No. And
I'm really leaving it up to you to.
I think I like that.
I do too. Yeah. Because I never read the descriptions because I don't care. I'm always going to picture what I'm going to picture, which recently has been Hero Finds.
Oh, well, I love that for you. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that I don't have any visual imagery in my mind anyways.
Yeah.
When I read, and I think, like, their personalities if you described somebody to me that came in and was, like, bitching because her coffee was too hot, I would have a very specific image in my mind of who that person is,
Yes,
and, like, what that person looks like,
very much.
and so I feel like I use their personalities, and this author does a really good job of flushing out their personalities for it being the type of book that it is.
Yeah, because it's a very short book.
Winnie Darling is somehow corralled into this room where she is strapped to a bed with the twins and Vane. And this is where we find out that Vane's superpower or magic or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it is that he instills fear. He creates feelings of fear and he makes her cry. You love him.
I love him. I
Ugh.
didn't actually, I did, but I always love the challenge.
You
But, like, the buildup is always the best part for me, so
yeah.
the easy ones are over it.
Yeah, you're bored so quick. I think it reinforces kind of like who Cass and Bash are
Yeah.
in this whole dynamic because Vane is Peter's right-hand man.
Yeah.
And then the twins are sort of like henchmen.
Yeah.
Yes. They're still higher ranking than the Lost Boys, but they are kind of
Yeah, I kind of felt like they were the muscle.
they take really good care of Winnie Darling. They cook for her, or one of the twins cooks for her. Which one cooks for her?
Bash.
Bash.
is the cook.
Bash is the cook. That's why I liked Bash.
Yeah.
I remember now. I remember. It's because Bash is the cook. This is around the time where we really start to get some of, like, the sexual tension.
Yeah.
This is where it
Well,
really
she's
starts to
literally drooling over them in her mind.
Yes, which obviously
Yep, same.
same.
Yep.
But we meet Cherry.
Would you meet Cherry?
Poor Cherry.
Poor Cherry.
Oh, God. Poor
The only
Cherry.
girl in the Lost Boys.
Yeah. She's not the only girl in The Lost Boys because there's a
There
later
are, yeah, they're the other,
there are
yeah,
other
there are
girls.
other girls.
But
But
she's the
she's
only
like inner kind of, inner
is
adjacent.
She's inner adjacent.
Yeah.
We find out later that the reason that she's inner adjacent is because she comes from a different side of the island and that Pan wants Vane to fuck her to keep her quiet because she is in love with Vane.
She's in love with Fame, yes. Like
Unrequited.
obsessed.
Yes.
Obsessed with Fame.
Obsessed with
Yes.
Vane. Yeah. The other thing I really liked about this book is I think in a lot of these books, the very first female character that gets introduced all of a sudden becomes the main character's best
Yeah.
best friend. I would run into a burning building for her, and I hate this is coming from somebody who makes best friends with everybody.
Literally. Yes.
But I hate that trope. I hate those super shallow,
I agree.
we're the only two girls who
Yeah.
understand these scary men, and so
I agree. And she definitely doesn't give that vibe that she's just gonna be best friends with.
no, she immediately is like, how can I use Cherry to get
Mhm.
information? And I love that about her because
Yeah.
same.
Right.
Bitch, same. These men kidnapped me. This asshole made me cry for no reason. I have this hot fairy man eating off of my fork, and I want to know what the fuck's going on.
Well, and she knows how to get what she wants. And she knows what, unfortunately, the way she grew up, she knows what to do. And then
Yeah.
goes for it.
She formulates a plan. We're not going into it with no plan.
Right.
We're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting. I missed this the first read. I didn't realize that Cherry had also had sex with the twins.
I feel like I missed that
Yeah.
second read.
Yeah, she started with them.
Oh.
You were supposed to read every word.
I know. I know.
All right, well, I get extra bonus points for
For
noticing
that.
that. It's interesting how close she gets to being a darling,
Mhm.
because she's basically had sex with all three of them,
Yeah.
and just the only person she hasn't is Pan.
That is a really interesting difference there.
Yeah.
Introducing Cherry as that character who desperately wants to be in that, and these men just fawn over Winnie for literally no reason.
Yeah, it really is.
Main character.
I think they all like that she's spunky.
Definitely.
Speaking of the sexual tension,
Mhm.
we also kind of discover in this scene, because the scene that we're in right now is Vane and Pan. We're
Okay.
getting a sense of Vane being his right-hand man. And this is where they're kind of talking about Cherry and her history. They're calling her a liability, even though at this point she's given nothing away. They hate her. I mean, it's very clear that they have a disdain for Cherry.
Yeah.
We also kind of discover that Pan is developing a soft spot for Winnie. At this point. He's not aware of it, but we are aware of it based on the way that he's describing things
Yeah.
and talking to Vane.
And Vane just wants to yeet her right off that island.
He wants to break her and make her cry. So Vane and Pan, they take Winnie for a little walk, and this is where I decided that I don't like Vane. I can't remember how he got mad. He gets mad at her somehow.
He's always mad at her. Literally, she exists and he is mad.
And I don't know, he uses his magic and like basically loses control of it. So he's having a hard time controlling his magic. This is where the fangs come out, and I'm like, oh, vampire.
Yeah.
Obviously. And
Don't they mention there that he has a shadow? They mention it really early because I have it in my notes really early.
Yes, you're right. Oh, he has a different shadow than Pan. We learn that he has a shadow, but that it's a different shadow than Pan. Pan has to end up chasing Winnie because she gets scared, and they bring her home, and they bring her up to the clubhouse. I don't actually know how this history, we kind of keep getting like little tidbits of history about, you know, the last Darlings and a little bit of Winnie's history. And we find out that Meredith, her mom, was a sex worker, and that Darling learned a few lessons from her mom and from her mom's friend, Starla, who Nicole is a stand for.
Yes.
And a lot of those lessons were just around like how to use sex to get what you want.
Yeah. And women have that. Like, why not use it and start like know as you grow up your best asset?
Your sort of de facto social currency.
Yes.
I did not like the way that they worked this into the story. I think it is relevant. I think that it's important background information to have on Winnie, but up until this point, the first time that I read it, I pictured Winnie as just an 18-year-old
This
who
is how she is.
just liked to have sex and just was risking it for the biscuit. And I didn't think of her as a calculated,
Because she is very calculated.
she's very calculated. She's very mindful about like the decision that she's making with her body and how to like leverage the people around her. But I just like the way that it just like is slipped in here. Just feels like they went through the whole book and then somebody was like, we need a little bit more context.
Yeah.
So let's just like pop in a little paragraph.
I could see that.
But it sort of sets the stage for the next 150 pages. So this is where she concocts a plan that she is going to play damsel in distress and cry about how scared she is.
Yes, queen.
She's concocted, she's going to seduce these men. She's ready. And at this point in time, we are all ready. Please, could you seduce them?
Because the rule is you can't fuck a darling. And then she can drive a wedge and make one of them fuck her.
Yes, she can get
she'll
under
get
their
home.
skin. Yes. I think at this point she still kind of wants to go home, but it's not the focal point.
No.
It's never a focal point for her. Oh, I have to get home.
No, she talks a lot about how beautiful the island is, how relaxing, how nice. Nobody cooks for her and
nobody cares about you. I think for her it's more about controlling the situation however she can, and which I can totally appreciate and understand, and I think is very realistic for real people. But she concocts this plan that she is going to seduce these men by playing damsel in distress, and she's going to break the twins. She's going to get to them first, which is an obvious choice because they are very clearly she is a novelty to them for sure. And she gets Cass. And Cass is not easily seduced.
No, he's not having it.
He's not interested. Well, he is interested.
Yes, we know in his mind.
Yes.
He is. But he is not giving in.
He is not giving in.
Pan is still at the top.
And so I think he yells at her.
Yeah.
He yells at her, tells her he knows what she's doing, which is accurate.
Yeah.
He is accurate in what she's doing.
Yeah.
And then he storms out of his room, out of her room.
Yep.
Down to the Lost Boys. The Lost Boys are having an eternal party.
Yeah.
And basically picks some chick with brown hair and face fucks her in front of everybody.
And outside of Winnie's window.
Right outside.
You can see this.
Winnie is watching him do this from her bed. Obviously, as any sane person is like, she's losing her mind. She's like, I need somebody now. What page is this on?
67 is when this whole thing starts.
Okay, so page 67. This is really our first real foray into any type of smut in this book. So then he's out there. The twins have some weird telepathic connection.
Yeah.
And Bash decides that he's going to go in to her room and
something was wrong. So he's like, what the fuck did you just do to my brother?
And he's going to defend his brother's honor.
Yeah.
Right.
Big bad me.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't exactly go the way that he planned. I think that he can tell that Winnie's like all teed up at this point. Like,
well, he like grabs her and like throws her up against the wall.
Foreplay. Yep.
Yeah,
He
and then
basically starts
he's
manhandling her.
ready,
He's ready.
which she knows, and she's like,
Yes.
"Alright, this is how I get in."
Yes. So then they start going at it, and in walks
Peter
Mr.
fucking
M
Pan.
Mr. fucking Pan himself, smoking a fucking goddamn cigarette, because this guy is always
Oh my
fucking
god.
smoking, and makes himself comfortable in a wingback chair, and commands them to
Yeah.
finish while he watches.
Dash is panicking. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Well, and Winnie is just like, "This is so hot." Hannah's watching.
Yes, and I fucking love this for her.
Yeah. Well, and she's in control, like, she's the one fucking Bash, not the other way around.
Honestly, if it had been the other way around, I don't know that he would have,
Right.
but she was on top
Yes.
their first time.
Yeah.
Queen.
Love that for her.
So Bash finishes.
Yeah.
Great. Winnie's not finished.
No.
Poor Winnie. I'm so disappointed in Bash in this moment.
I
Sir,
think I picture him just laying there like, "Oh my god, this needs to be done. Just hurry up." I picture him barely being able to get off.
do you actually? Because I feel like
I think in that moment, in his poor little head,
this can't possibly be the first time.
I think it's the first time they fucked a darling, but probably not the first time they've
Mm.
done together.
Anyways, Bash finishes, and Peter Pan kicks him out of the room, and then he finger fucks Miss
Yeah,
Darling.
he says, "Why not start at the top?"
Why not start at the top?
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
King. And all she gets is his fingers. The letdown
I know.
at this moment.
I know.
I
Literally, though, page 71, that's when I text you to be like, "I found this new book. She's already been fucked by one guy and finger fucked by another one, and I'm on page
Yeah.
71."
Yeah, it's a good book.
It is.
Yeah, we
And we're still
approve.
going because the smut
Uh,
doesn't end until page 74.
okay.
So it is 67 to 74 for that little.
Wow.
And that's the shortest one. Girl gets it.
She gets it. The next day, Cherry's been put in charge of bringing food to Darling, and they have a conversation. Cherry says to Darling, "You are very pretty." And Darling says, "I know."
I can relate so hard to that because when people compliment me, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh my gosh,
Yes.
no, stop." I'm like,
Yes.
"I know." Dave tells me how cute I am. I'm like, "Thanks.
Yes.
I know."
But we are not allowed to say that.
No.
We are not allowed to think that we're smart or pretty or
Mhm.
any of the things, and I love how much she owns
Yeah.
that compliment and is just
Mhm.
like, "I know."
'Cause also in these type of books, we get those girls who just they don't know how pretty they are.
Right, right, right. "I'm so
And
plain. My friend is so pretty and I'm so plain." And it's
yes.
like, right, I'm
And Winnie
sure.
knows
Yeah.
that she is hot stuff.
Mhm. And the thing is that Winnie is really rough at this point. So for
Yeah.
her to be like,
Yes.
"I know," when
Yeah.
she's literally emaciated and covered
Mhm.
in scars is like, "Yes,
Good
babe.
for you, own it.
Oh,
Confidence, though, is
fucking own that."
confidence
Yes.
is huge.
Yes,
And she's like
absolutely.
yeah, Cherry is, like, very self-conscious, and Winnie is
Which is
very
probably a big distinction in why the difference in the
yes,
way that she gets treated by the men.
definitely.
She does say something here that it's not relevant here, but it will be later on, and I just want everybody to notice that I noticed this because I'm such a good reader, and I read almost all of the words this time. She tells Cherry that she bets the men underestimate her, which Cherry is like,
I don't have
"No, they
anything.
don't, they
What
don't." And that comes into play later,
mhm.
but Cherry is what is that thing from ACOTAR? The robe. What is that thing called?
The robe?
Yeah, the thing that's in the robe.
The cereal?
The cereal. Cherry is the cereal here.
Just a
This
little chaos queen.
just a little chaos queen, just
Gossip.
spilling
Yes.
the tea. We
Yes.
get all of the missing pieces come together in this
Yeah.
one breakfast conversation with Cherry.
Yeah.
We find out that there are 7 islands, 7 kings. Every island's king has a life shadow and a death shadow. And Pan has chosen the life shadow and lost it. And the death shadow for their island is been missing for
Forever.
forever. We find out that Cass and Bash are fallen Fae princes who lost their wings for killing their father, and Vane has a death shadow. So please invite me to tea parties with Cherry in the future
Right.
because wow,
It's
that
piping
lady
hot.
killed. Darling gets invited to a bonfire after this.
Harry invites her to the bonfire.
Harry invites her to the bonfire, convinces the
Cass and
twin,
Bash.
of course.
Yes.
Fucking suckers.
Literally.
I love a sucker.
But I feel like they are just down to party.
They
They're down
really
to
are.
town.
Yeah.
Like,
they are. So she gets invited and she fucks around and finds out with Vane.
literally.
This guy is not, you'd say it. I don't even like him. He makes me like enraged. I'm mad at him. They are all like communally in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And he comes in, they're all walking around half naked, which, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
is there a way that you could possibly write a better book than this where you have 4 beautiful men walking around half naked? I don't think you really could.
No.
He comes in and like pretends he's like interested in her, and then basically as she's pushing her ass into him, steps away. And she falls.
Yes.
I don't like him.
I didn't.
Quit playing with my girl.
No.
Quit
But
playing
you
with
know
my
how
girl.
hard I go for an enemies to lovers.
I know that you do.
And this is peak enemies to lovers. So to answer your question from earlier, yes, I would consider this enemies to lovers, I suppose.
Okay. Well, she fucks around and finds out.
Yep.
They end up at a bonfire. She decides that she's gonna fuck around and find out with some fucking ginger lost
Just
boy.
some lost boy they're playing cards or something, and he has his hand on her thigh, and she's like, "Fuck this! This lost boy's gonna fuck me."
Right, and he would have, except that Vane tells on her.
Yep.
Wakes Peter Pan from his slumber
in his tomb,
where he stands at the edge of his window until the sun goes down, promptly storms downstairs to the bonfire, and rips the heart directly out of the chest of the lost boy that Winnie was getting frisky with. It was shocking.
I know. Well, because you don't know. I'm turned on. Is she turned on?
I was turned on until he dropped the heart with a wet thud, and I was like, okay. That was cute for a second, and not so much anymore.
Sure.
But then she gets the world's best punishment, which is that Pan brings her up to their little fucking clubhouse, bends her over a table, and fucks her.
And it sounds like it was great. It's everything she wanted with Bash that she didn't get.
Winnie gets her rocks off. Everybody's having a fun time. Cass and Bash are both. Everybody's watching.
Yeah.
Everybody is standing around watching, basically waiting for their turn. They run a train on.
Yeah, Bash literally says, "Is it my turn?"
Bash comes up. Bash starts having sex with Winnie, calls his brother Cass over so that Cass can get some head. And then, as the author puts it, in twin synchronicity, they come at the exact same time.
That's not a kink I have.
Of 2 people coming at the same time?
The twins.
The twins.
Twins is not a kink I have.
Twins is...
Because I kind of had to pretend that they weren't related.
Yes. I don't agree with that. They're not related in my mind when I'm imagining it.
Agreed. Yeah. So that starts on page 114.
So then they get off, and then Pan commands that she also gets to sleep in the twins' bed that night. And my note says, "This lucky bitch." I am really, really unimpressed with Vane.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm also unimpressed with him in this first book. Second book, he does it for me. He is redeemed.
I'm really because I remember liking him, and I'm really, really waiting for that. But I'm so annoyed with him right now because his contribution to this fun little party is that he asks her to open her mouth, and then he spits in her mouth.
I did not love that.
Without her consent. I have a short list of people that I would let spit in my mouth. I'm
0.
for it. No, I'm for it. Yes.
Okay.
But it's consensual. It wouldn't be something like if somebody did that to me in the heat of the moment.
Well, and he lets her think that something's going to happen because she just had Cass a stick in her mouth. And then to have somebody spit in it. And she's pretty fucking pissed.
As she should be. I would never forgive him, though. You did. You forgave him.
I did.
Your face
But do
says
you think that they needed because Pan is obsessed with her, Cass and Bash are obsessed with her, and they're all so nice, but
no.
obviously Peter Pan is morally gray. Do you think she wrote in an actual villain for this first one just as
I think, yeah, you're probably right. It's because it would be boring if there wasn't some
yeah.
resistance, but I just
She wrote 3
don't.
other books. That'd be a long time to just have everybody so happy and fucking her,
God,
and
I love a novella. I liked the 4th ACOTAR book.
ugh,
It was cute.
but you didn't remember their sex in the sky.
No, I didn't. I forgot about that. It wasn't a highlight. I probably skimmed over it. Didn't even read about it.
Yeah.
Pan's pissed that he's falling in love with Darling, and so as one does when you're mad about having feelings, he and Vane decide that they are going to go hunting and killing pirates together.
Yeah.
Around this time, the twins are teaching Darling how to gut a fish, and she is once again thwarted in her attempts to woo Vane. So it's really at this point, they're just one happy little family
Yeah.
living their best lives. Winnie is falling in love with the island. She is really feeling at home
Yeah.
here. But speaking of families, Tilly, the
Mhm.
twin sister and current queen of the Fae, is making a visit to the tree house. And it turns out that her gift, is it exclusive to Tilly? That she
No, they all can, but because she's the queen, she can do it more. She's better at, like, digging into the memories.
Sure.
But theoretically, like, Cass and Bash, like, could kind of.
Sure.
They're, like, looking at, like, blood memories.
They're looking at blood memories because Pan has a theory that blood memories are passed down to darlings. And what they're looking for is Pan's shadow. And he believes that a darling knows where it is. And so Tilly is going to kind of go rooting around in Darling's head to figure out if she has a memory of it.
Yeah.
The process is incredibly painful, and it is what drives the darlings mad.
Yeah.
I
But they tell
doubt.
her if she consents and she, like, lets them do it, then maybe she won't go mad, and it'll be easier for her.
If she doesn't resist it, which actually that doesn't make any sense
No.
because her mom, we find out, did consent
Yeah.
and she still went crazy.
Yeah. So
So
how they didn't pick up on this earlier, boys.
yeah, boys. Fucking boys.
Yep.
Big dumb idiots walking around bumping into things.
Literally.
Winnie decides that she's gonna do it.
Yeah.
She decides that she's gonna take one for the team. She feels like she has confidence in herself. She's strong. She's capable. She is going to survive this. She's a little nervous, but
Yeah.
she's feeling confident
They've
about it.
assured her that everything will be fine.
Yes.
And she trusts them and she loves them.
She gets into it and it's painful. She's struggling. And who comes in to save her?
Yep.
And none other than the man who literally just spit in her mouth. I want him to be redeemed here. I'm still mad at him.
I know.
Were you redeemed right away?
I was 100% redeemed right away. He literally saves her, he tells Pan to fuck off,
Yeah.
and we're done, and then takes her to his bed
Where
and
he
spoons her to sleep.
I know, such a gentleman. It's gonna take more than some spooning
Sure.
to make me forgive you, sir. Some good dick will do it. So while asleep, Winnie has a vision, and in the vision, a woman who looks similar to her is in a room with a woman who looks similar to Tilly, and they are hiding a box in the trunk that Winnie and her mother have been traveling around with. Once it's locked away, the woman who looks like Tilly kills the woman who looks like Winnie, and Winnie sees in the closet a little girl watching from the closet. And she wakes up and she demands to see Pan. And we find out that the woman in the vision is, in fact,
Tinkerbell.
there she is. It sounds like she was in love with Pan, and Pan was in love with the first darling. And Tinkerbell, in her jealousy, is the one who coordinated the whole plan to steal Pan's shadow. And when she killed her darling, Pan killed Tink in a fit of rage.
Yep.
Similar to when he ripped the Lost Boys.
Yep, because all he has to say is, "I don't believe in fairies," and then the fairies die.
So Winnie discloses that she knows where it is, and they all go to a giant rock and they jump off of it, and it takes them back to the world
Yep.
that Winnie lives in, back to her house,
Yep.
where the shadow is being protected by these like minions, would you call them?
I mean, they're called the brownies.
They're called the
Whatever
brownies,
they
but like
are, I don't know. I was picturing
I they're
I don't know.
they're weird. I don't know how they're like servants of the queen, but they really kind of serve the realm
Yeah.
at the same time. They're
She
not
commands them because she's the queen.
right, but
Yeah.
they're not fully loyal to her. They're still loyal to Tink.
They believe in what Tank was trying to do because Tank didn't want Pan to be
Yeah. And
cool.
there's a battle. A battle ensues.
Mhm.
The boys are obviously victorious,
They kill all those
and
brownies.
they dispose of the
First,
bodies.
that main brownie confirms that Tilly has been destroying the brains.
Yes.
He confirms that.
Which again, big dumb idiots. That never fucking occurred to you guys.
Ex
It
I'm
n
sorry, she banished
You
you from
killed
your kingdom, and
yeah,
you just believe
you
her,
killed her mom, and you think that
and she took
she's
your wings.
big dumb idiots. Underestimating women. These men, their biggest downfall, underestimating women.
They are the definition of big dumb idiots,
Big dumb idiots.
walking around bumping into things.
Um, I mean, this is basically the end of the book.
Yeah.
They return to Neverland. Darling begs Pan to take her back. She says goodbye to her mother and that she loves her, and he agrees to take her back. And
And they go back with Shadow.
they all go back to Neverland, and Pan opens the box, and instead of one shadow coming out of the box, two shadows come out of the box, and the book ends. So we're left on a little bit of a
A little cliffhanger
cliffhanger,
there.
which was fine because all of the books in the series were out and I didn't have to wait.
Exactly. And
So
again, they're such short reads. I think I read the first 2 in,
mhm,
like, a couple hours in one night,
yes, easily.
and I had sex, like, 4 times that night
Oh
because
my god, yes.
obviously.
Obviously, why wouldn't you? All right, so we're gonna go through our ratings. We have our own rating system.
So we really built off of an original idea.
Well, I think the concern is a lot of the times when people say that they're reading a spicy book or a smutty book, it's really hard to gauge what their version of smutty is.
Yeah.
So we have 5 categories
Yes.
for this. We may add a 6th one. We haven't figured out the details of that
Yeah.
yet. The first category is spice level. So this would be how graphic
Yeah.
is the spice that happens in the book. Is it very graphic? Is it fading to black? The next category would be spice frequency. So how frequently is the
Yeah.
spice happening? Then we have storyline,
Yeah.
which is, was the story good? We have prose, how well is the book written? And we have our overall rating. So those are our ratings, and it's 1 through 5. We're either
Yeah.
gonna use an eggplant or a chili pepper, we haven't decided.
Yeah, undecided. I did circles
Oh, nice.
in here.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
In your cute little notebook.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rip all these out and throw them away when I'm done. So
I'm keeping them.
oh my
The
god.
memorabilia.
They're gonna be relics.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
Okay,
Alright,
spice level.
so the spice level is how spicy do we think the book is? How risque are the sex scenes? What level of it? Is it them, you know, having sex in missionary in the dark, fade to black?
Right.
Or are we tied to a cross and
Yeah.
being fucked with a dildo while somebody tattoos us?
Right,
Right?
which I would give a 5.
Which I would give a 5. Yeah. So spice level for this book,
I gave a 4.
you would give a 4. I'm gonna give this one a 3.
Okay. Because I do think this would be too spicy for some people.
I agree with you. I think
I think
categorically
3 is a great rating.
if we're using the spice level, there can't be any fade to black. It doesn't.
Agreed.
We wouldn't even rate that book.
No,
That would not get a rating.
no,
Okay.
agreed.
All right.
I like 3. I feel like
Yeah.
that is a good.
I'm gonna keep that one.
I like that.
I think that's good.
Well, I've already given it 4, so I'll stick with 4.
Okay.
All right, spice frequency.
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 2.
Really?
I just don't feel like there were 2 times.
I know. I was teetering on a 2 and a 3 because I felt like the sexual tension was present through the entire book.
Sure.
Which sometimes I feel like in these smutty books, they kind of go off the rails a bit, and then, like, some of the tension lacks, and then I don't know. So, I gave it a 3. It's very minimal, but the sex that they do have, it's like what was the one was from, like, page 64 to 71. It's thorough. So, I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay, I like that. I gave it a 2.
Storyline?
Storyline, I gave a 4.
I also gave it a 4. I really liked the storyline.
On the second read, I definitely paid more attention to the storyline. When I picked this book, I was looking for something so I could have sex.
Right.
So I wasn't
Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't we were not reading this the first time around
No,
for the plot.
exactly.
But the second time around, absolutely. I think the plot is very engaging.
Agreed.
I was
And I
very
think it's a
interested. Mhm. It's a unique retelling. It's a unique perspective.
I was entertained on the second read.
Hmm. What about prose?
Prose, I also give a 4.
We also gave it a 4.
Like, I feel like it's well written.
Overall,
I also gave a 4.
we also gave it a 4. I really thought we were gonna have different ratings.
We did kind of for some of them. As the books progress, we will. I know we will for other books because we've already discussed them. But this series, I think it was just it's such a, like, easy, fun read.
Mhm.
It got to the point, it got there, super likable main characters.
Yeah.
So, it's a crowd pleaser.
Agreed, 100%. I
No
think
tell art.
I feel like this is one of those books, like, when people are like, "Oh, like, what" like, when our friends are asking us, like,
Yes.
what they should read, I kind of
We recommend this
always,
to
like,
everybody.
default this. Yeah,
Because I
because it
don't there's the triggers I don't feel like are too bad. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not recommending Haunting Adeline to
Right,
everybody.
right.
I would recommend this to my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
We
Good
recommended
book.
it to Carmen.
We did recommend she's reading it,
Yeah.
enjoying it. She loves a good romance. Carmen. So that was our recap of book 1
Yeah.
of the Vicious Lost Boys series. Stay tuned for our next episode
Will
where
be
we will
book
be
2,
doing book 2.
the dark one.
I'm so
I
excited.
know. I wonder who that's about.
Oh my god, who's it gonna be? A little bit of history or a little bit background of Nikki St. Crowe. She is a well-established author. She has other series including Midnight Harbor, Wrath and Rain trilogy, A Dark Vampire Curse, a bonus scene anthology, and Devourer of Men series, which is a spinoff of this series. So you can go online and check out her books. Um, do you want to tell people where they can
Oh,
find the book?
yeah. Yes, where they can find it
Yeah.
because we want access to these books.
Mhm.
I read it on Kindle Unlimited.
Same.
So it's on Kindle Unlimited. You can buy it, like, on Amazon, Target, anything
Mhm.
like that for hardcover or paperback. It's also an audiobook. So you
Oh,
can listen to it on audiobook. It's free Audible trial.
okay.
Um, I didn't check to see if it was on Spotify,
Sure.
but it
It's
does have an
definitely
audiobook.
not something that you read in the car on the way to dropping your children off at
No,
school, though, so
no.
just
I
be
struggle with
warned.
these super smutty books in
Mm,
audiobook form.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know some people really only read them, like,
I
via
know.
audio,
Yeah.
which I is great, but
No.
the voices have to be very specific in order for me to
Mhm.
do it,
Yeah.
so but yeah, I mean, it's a great book, recommend, 4
Yeah.
out of 5. Next week, like I said, we're doing the second book. We're gonna drop new episodes on every Thursday.
Yep.
So like and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Books Love Pod
And Facebook?
and Facebook. We have a Facebook group
Oh, yeah.
that you can search up. It's private group, but it's searchable. And that's also Books Let's Pod. So join us on Facebook. We'll talk about future books and we'd love to get recommendations.
Yeah, get some discussions.
Yeah. So, all right.
All right.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.